Hi, Year 9. So today we're moving on to a new text. Same skills, same language paper, but a new text. Text is 1,000 Splendid Suns. It is based in Afghanistan, and it follows two women, a mother and a daughter. They're both relatively grown up. The extract you're about to read starts at the beginning of their escape. So they're both fleeing their husband, who is abusive. Yes, it said there they're married to the same husband. It's not an entirely consensual marriage. So he's physically and emotionally abusive to them, and they are making their escape. In Afghanistan, especially when this text is set, women don't have a lot of rights, so they more have to run away to get away from the husband. Also, it's a major part of the extract you're about to read. Women can't travel without a male companion. So through the beginning of the text, they're desperately trying to find a kind person, a kind male that will help them escape by pretending to be travelling with them. So go to handouts and find the extract. Also, you can listen to Mrs. Dodwell's excellent reading of it if you follow the YouTube link just here. Again, we're pausing this video as we go through. So this lesson, analysing how the writer used language to manipulate emotions. So last two lessons we focused really strictly on the exam questions, more to get you familiar with them. But this lesson we're going to be looking a bit more in detail at the extract, answering questions with it, and revising exam skills. So not same skills getting into the exam, but a little more interesting with the questions. Yes, varied would be a better word than interesting. So you know what you need to do now. I pause the video now and then play it again when you're ready to move on to task 1. So for task 1, what we're doing is a retrieval. So it's a mixture between question 1, where you have to retrieve 4 points, and also understanding your understanding of the text, if that makes sense. So read 20 lines and then answer the questions below. They're just retrieval questions, so you don't need to analyse or anything, just put the answer down. So that's what you do for task 1. Pause the video before until you're ready to move on to task 2. Hello again, so you will have finished task 1 now, so moving on to task 2. This is a to what extent question. It's like a mini practice of question 4. Yeah, we're not going to be writing the whole kind of big question for question 4, but it's more seeing your to what extent skills and putting them to use in a little run through. At the end for task 3, it links on to task 2, so you'll be finding all the evidence for task 2, and then you're going to be writing a paragraph or 2, so not even full P's. It's more looking at your planning and evidence finding skills. So the statement given here, do we trust the character of the young man? Before answering, it was big bit of evidence. So if you trust him, what you do is find a quote and explain why, and if you don't trust him, find a quote and explain why. Find a couple for each, because you'll be writing 2 paragraphs. So I pause that the video now and then fulfill task 2 for that. Now again for task 3, what we're doing is writing 1 to 2 paragraphs showing your ideas using one of the sentences. I strongly agree that the young man would. I agree to some extent that we trust the young man, or I totally agree. So these are sentence starters you'd use to begin answering question 4, because it shows to what extent you agree. Each of them answer the question straight away. As I said, we're not writing a full question 4, more practicing the skills you need for it. So I've written here, write 1 to 2 paragraphs. I'd advise writing P's paragraphs, because then you're putting the evidence here and those skills into more practice. However, you can just write a paragraph which isn't so formulaically P's laid out for this one here. So pause the video and answer that question for task 3. Right, so you're ready to move on to task 4. Here we're having a little look into the emotions of the characters and finding something to support. So we see many different emotions and feelings in this extract. Find evidence for following sentences. So I'm not just collecting evidence, because that's going to be a run up to how we answer and tackle the next task. So find a quote for each of these emotions. We have to do is find the quote and put it in. That's what you need to do for task 4. Pause the video and get on with that task. Hello again, Year 9. So you will have found all your quotes for all these different emotions. That's because task 4, we're answering a question 4 style question. So the statement is here: the writer took me on an emotional roller coaster with the characters. I felt nervous, optimistic, disappointed, and then fearful. To what extent do you agree? That's why we did the information and emotion quote finding here. So again, with question 4, it's P's styled, and you need to agree, disagree, or agree a little and either agree a small amount and disagree majoritively, or agree majoritively and disagree a small amount. I would advise doing the latter two, so having a counter argument, because it adds more depth to your answer. So definitely have one direction you're mainly going through, and then maybe one counter argument. So if you're doing 4 P's, I say, I don't know, let's say 3 P's agreeing and then 1 P's disagreeing, so you still have a clear outcome on what you believe. You're just looking at the entirety of the question, if that makes sense. So you can use the sentence stems from task 3 to help you. I agree to some extent that we trust the young man. That's probably the one I'd go for there, so you're getting that depth of your understanding to it. So you can use that sentence stem to begin your answer. That being said, before your answer, what I do is similar to last lesson where you made agree and disagree charts. Make a little version of that to show where you mainly land. When you've done that, I'd write your answer for question 4 here. That's what you've got to do this lesson. It's for analysing emotion and some of the question 4 style skills. If you're confused, please send me an email. I will be going through your OneNotes as always, but it's the quickest way to get me to respond to an immediate problem.